You get the card out of the machine, you slap it onto this screen to play the game. You don't just sit it there. It prompts you to use the card to move it back and forth, make attacks, bang them into each other. I mean, arcade card games, not having sealed product years down the line, you end up in a position where the older the cards are, the more likely they are to be quite damaged from the play because of how you have to play with them.
Hello, back. Second time today. You won't know that, but you'll notice I'm in the same outfit. 2 potties in one day. Today I'm here with Jake from DBHeroes.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming on board. Tell us a little bit about what you do and what you've been collecting.
So I am essentially the Dragon Ball Heroes guy in Australia. Now, I know you know this already because I met with you a couple years ago.
Over ramen.
Yeah, over ramen.
It's delicious.
In Greensboro, was it?
It was.
Yeah, Heroes cards are like my lifeblood. They're a really special thing to me. I've been working for the last few years to make them popular everywhere outside of Japan because that's where they're from and that's the only place the market was for maybe 7 or 8 years.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean...
No. They're sick cards. They look good. I like the feel of them. They're like extra thick because obviously they're an arcade game, right? So you've played the arcade game over in Japan many times, I would imagine.
Yes.
And you thoroughly enjoy that. How's the community for it over there? And how do you go as a predominantly English speaker going over there and do you converse with many of the other people that play or is it because it's an arcade game pretty solitary?
Well, yeah. So, okay, the thing about Japan is that culturally, compared to the West, maybe 20, 30 years ago is a bit different, but culturally arcades over there are thriving.
Yep.
So, people finish up work and maybe instead of hanging out at home with their mates or at their mate's place, they'll all gather at like an izakaya, which is basically a Japanese pub, or an arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they pop off. So they are, if anyone's ever been to Japan, they'll understand this. It's like walking into an indoor amusement park at any time of the day. There's all kinds of games and machines and like most of the arcades are 4 to 10 floors tall, right?
Yeah, like towers. They're sick, yeah.
Most of the main ones will have a floor dedicated to arcade card games, which covers a variety of series, but pretty much all of them you will just put in 100 yen, which is about $1 Australian these days. Mm-hmm. And it'll spit out a card. You'll be able to use that card along with any others you have to play the game. The Heroes machines have 2 screens and you'll slide all of your cards on the bottom screen. It'll put the characters on the cards in the game and that's how you'll play the game.
Yep.
As far as like sociability, I mean, you can sit down at pretty much any arcade machine in any arcade and if you're outgoing enough, you can just have a chat with whoever's playing on the one next to you. A lot of the time, they'll have local play set up as well. You've had a few highballs, you're a bit cheery, you might be able to swoon the Japanese guy next to you into having a one-on-one.
Yep, cool.
And you lose,
miserably.
pretty miserably. They don't really hold back. And a lot of the time, they'll have like the most expensive cards and you'll be sitting there with a couple rares that you won from the machine and just get crushed. So yeah, so it's a social experience, but for the most part, it's just something that overwhelms your senses. And once you have some of these arcade cards in your hand, it just, I don't know, personally, I couldn't go back to a TCG.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first time I held a Heroes card, I was just very, very impressed because obviously they're made to play on an arcade system. They've got to be a little bit more durable, I guess.
Super high quality, yeah.
Yeah, and they're made and printed in Japan as well, right?
Yep,
100%. I've found with pretty much a majority of all the TCGs that I've touched that have been manufactured in Japan, very, very good. Very, very good quality.
Like the new One Piece TCG is a good example.
Yes, yeah.
Incredible quality.
Yeah, so I'm super impressed with that. So obviously you run DBHeroes.com.au.
Yep, dbheroes.com.au, that's right.
So if you need any DB Heroes cards, then go over there. But how have you found the market over here? Obviously being, a westernized country, like a lot of us don't speak Japanese, let alone I imagine have you played the game with anybody over here outside of your immediate circle? I'd imagine not. It's pretty much a collector's market, right?
Yes, 100% collector's market
outside
Japan. Working to change that can touch on more of that later. But essentially, when I started things, it was coming from Pokemon, right?
Yes, I remember you very well from the Pokemon scenes and all that sort of stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Myself, my friend Corey, with the release of Evolutions, we got back into it. I think it reignited a lot of people with collecting, with Pokemon, whatever, back in 2016. And from there, you know, neither of us really had much of an income. We still wanted to collect, so we started like making our own little Pokemon packs on eBay before it was really a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just one night I was I'd become a bit of an eBay enthusiast. It's actually where I first met you on eBay, although you didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, right.
You were a seller, and grabbed some Pokemon off you. But it was one late night, about 2 or 3 in the morning. I think I was about 20 pages in.
Yeah.
Just looking for like...
you get the dark alley of eBay sort of thing. Yeah, I get it. Yep.
Yeah, just looking for anything Dragon Ball related, like for collecting, because I was in such a heavy collecting headspace at the time. And I found a card, a picture of a card. It's actually this one. It's the Father-Son Kamehameha Ultimate Rare. I didn't know what it was at the time, and whoever was selling it didn't either because there was no information in the listing. It was just a description of what the moment was, like Dragon Ball card, Father-Son Kamehameha, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it took a couple weeks of research, and I figured out what they were, Heroes cards. They didn't exist outside of Japan at that point. You could search for them once you knew what they were, and you wouldn't find any info on the internet outside of, I guess, some Japanese websites if you knew a really specific thing to look for.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd search them on the internet, you wouldn't really find any info. You'd search them on eBay, and there were 2 listings, right? Compare that to now, you'll search Dragon Ball Heroes card or Dragon Ball Heroes on eBay, it's 50K plus, right? It's like it's the max. So it's kind of crazy how it's blown up over COVID and since I started doing things with them, introducing them to people outside Japan, you know? Because once I fell in love with this particular card, it only took about 8 months and I was over there. I never really even wanted to go overseas before.
Yeah, right.
And it sort of hit me, these are cool. I'd really like to see more of this kind of stuff in person. Japan could be cool. All right, let's do it. So, and yeah, as soon as I actually had them in my hands, I just couldn't stop myself, you know? I brought back a few. I was trying to show them and get interest in them. And the only way I really could was in like a couple of, none of the main Dragon Ball Super card game groups. They didn't really allow it, but in some of like the niche collector DBS groups, I was putting some posts up here and there of cards. This was like 2018-ish. The problem was though that I would just repeatedly get shot down because most people that were hardcore DBS collectors in these sort of groups were heavily invested, I guess, and kind of biased as well. Yeah. So I put a thing up, beautiful card, but you know, maybe every second or third comment would just be like, hate these, Shadowfoil sucks, blah, blah, blah.
You're right.
I never really sort of went anywhere. I tried to spread awareness, but early days it was just really difficult getting any bites because it's such a barrier of entry. So, you know, as an arcade card game compared to a TCG, it's just such a foreign concept to anyone in the space that, you know, has been collecting TCG their whole life.
Yeah. I find it unusual because, like, as a collector, it's essentially art. At the end of it is art. At the end of it, it's just replicated a few times. And you know, in the instance of Japanese TCG, half the time they're like, "Oh yeah, we've only actually printed 500 of these as well." Like sometimes they can be really exclusive. Yeah. But like my mum would always say to me, like, "Oh, well, I don't understand why you're collecting this." And I'm just like, "Well, why do you collect plates? What does grandma collect plates?"
I think we've all experienced that as
yeah, legit. And it's just like it's art. It is art. It's just in a different medium. It's in a TCG. So as a collector, I found that if you were to post that online, particularly someone that would come along and be like, "Oh no, I hate Shadowfoil," and haven't even handled a card as well. It's like, okay, like that's a cool opinion. Still an opinion. Like you're allowed to voice it, but
yes,
it's like give it a go. You'd be pretty surprised about how it actually feels, and half the time when you take a picture of something, it doesn't actually do it justice either.
That was probably the biggest bit of feedback I ever got. Once I saw my first few cards that I brought back, I mean, to be honest, I'd only brought them back as my own collection, right? But it struck me that it could be interesting trying to get people interested in them. Because it was such an interesting situation to be in. Holding these things that are like, to me, I thought were amazing. You know, I'd had Pokemon, had all this other Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, before. And I just couldn't, there wasn't really a comparison in quality as like purely a collector, right? So it was just a unique sort of scenario to be in because no one seemed interested in them and I couldn't understand why. I didn't understand why they hadn't taken off already, why they hadn't become mainstream, I guess. And I sort of thought about it more and the barrier of entry, right? So that's when, after I'd sold like a couple of the cards that I had, I sort of made a decision and committed to it. It was the following year. I was just going to go back Labor Day weekend and spent 4 days there just making whatever contacts I could and getting as many cards as I could to try and make them a thing outside of Japan. Yeah, it was hectic. It was a bit of like I don't know, I guess I was kind of just bored with my full-time job and things I was doing normally day to day.
Didn't we all get bored? Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just the passion for them. It just fueled me to do it. It also helped that flights were pretty cheap at the time, unlike these days.
When was it when you first went?
So the first trip was 2018.
Yeah.
But the 4-day committed like business trip was Labor Day, like March 2019.
Yeah, that would have been around the time we went, maybe a little bit after. And the flights were like 700 or something like that. It was ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
And that's why, Jacob, the man behind the camera, he was over there, studying business in Japanese. And all the boys wanted to go visit him. So we made a trip out of it and then went and visited him. He was only with us for 4 days. And then I just was like, see you later, boys. I'll be back at the end of the day. I just went shopping for cards all day and it was awesome. I loved it. And then I took the English cards in there as well and they love it because obviously English cards fetch a premium over there and then vice versa over here. Yeah. So I would go in and just be like, do you want to trade? And they were like, cool. And they just went for it. It was awesome. The community was lovely. I found everybody was pretty willing to try and, even though I don't speak any Japanese, like at least try and like communicate in one way, shape or form. Yep. So it was a really wholesome environment. When you went over there to acquire all these cards on like your business trip and stuff like, for business related purposes, obviously there's an element of business behind it. Like you want to make them popular so you can sell them and all that sort of stuff. There is an element of that. Like you can't, obviously no one hides that, but like obviously it's driven by a passion for the TCG rather than just strictly money.
ACG.
Yeah,
ACG, not TCG.
Sorry, ACG.
Just to clarify, like because we've already covered it a little bit, but so you got trading card games. Traditionally, you'll get them from booster packs, booster boxes, whatever. You might in 20 years' time, you might have like a base set Pokemon booster box or whatever in your cupboard, untouched, still in its plastic wrap, and you might be able to pull a pack fresh Charizard or whatever, right? ACGs differ in that there's no packs. Aside from promotional cards, the main cards you get from the arcade machines, you win all of them individually per 100 yen you put in, at least for the Heroes arcade card game. And 20 years' time, you're not going to have any sealed product. There's some caveats there, but for the most part, any regular person, whatever, that plays the game won't have any access to any sealed product or anything like that. Each set cycles into the machines every 2 months. So once that 2-month window is gone, that set isn't playable anymore, and any of those cards...
It's not playable at all?
No.
That's hectic.
If a new set comes out and they run out of the stock that Bandai sends them to put in the machine, and they still want their machine to be playable so they can still make money, they might have like a couple of the bricks from like the last set or two, like at the back, they might just put in so it can still be played. But beyond that, you can't get the cards anymore. So the only way you get them beyond one at a time from the machines is through secondhand hobby stores, which are massive in Japan.
Yeah, there's heaps of them.
Think of like, your Good Games or whatever, your Cherry, Boxing Day sale, everyone in Melbourne in there, except there's 10 of those on every block in every city.
Yes.
So
I was a kid in a candy shop. I loved it. I was going ham. But you're going to spend the entire potty like just telling me, no, ACG, please. Like,
Hey,
just
I
it
mean-
is entrenched in my mind is TCG.
Exactly.
Or even CCG, but
Which
ACG is a new one for me.
which lends itself to the difficulty in making them popular in the first place. Yeah, so that business trip, right? I came back and I had a couple boxes full of cards, obviously spurred on by the passion for the cards, collecting them, but also wanting to make them a thing. The whole time it's been really difficult.
Yeah.
Splitting it down the middle or
Well, I guess it comes down to like, I really, really enjoy these. Like, please, God damn it, you enjoy it too. Like, you know.
Yeah. No, that's helped a lot with the content that I have made. Aside from my friend Corey, the original friend that I was doing the Pokemon stuff with originally, who packed a lot of orders for a while for me. It is just me behind the scenes, running the website and socials and packing orders these days. So any content you see it's literally like purely from my own passion for the cards, for collecting them, for sharing them, for, I don't know, giving back to the community and getting excited when they share how excited they are when they finally have some in their hands. Or, I don't know, it's just been a really, really awesome experience. And I think after that first 4-day business trip, things really got rolling. So basically, as soon as I got back, right, I tried setting up a jank sort of website. Didn't go too well. I was just using, your free templates. Didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really have any time to doing it either. And right around the time COVID hit, so that had been going on for like a year. Like I'd sold some cards to a few people at that point, but during that time, it was just very difficult to get the ball rolling in any like tangible like capacity, right? Anything like measurable beyond just like a person here or there. One of the biggest struggles I had, aside from having to explain to everyone like what they are, how they're different to trading cards, your regular trading cards, and getting them interested and getting a card in their hand so that I knew 100% they would be interested.
Yeah.
The biggest difficulty was actually pricing.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have much to go off in a Western.
There was literally nothing at the time. The trouble there is that with Heroes cards, one of the coolest things about them is that, you have 7 different rarities. And once you get past like the common and the rare, I mean, the art's fantastic across all of them. Rares, you just have some gold stamp. Super rares, purely your shadow foil, which there's a lot of haters of. But once you get above there to your $5 to $15 range of rarity, your campaign promo cards, the foiling and design and everything on them is insane.
Yeah,
right?
It's fantastic.
So I was having these issues where I'd show some people some cards, like someone that had bought a couple at that point, and he'd see like a really nice campaign promo that I had, and he'd say, so like, am I giving you like $50 for that one, blah, blah, blah. But, it was like an $8 card.
Yeah.
And it puts you in obviously a moral predicament.
An ethical predicament, whereas like, hey, like obviously I have a business to run, but I have to be fair about this as well.
Exactly.
And that leads to like reputation too. It's all well and good, starting and initiating that hype or want for these cards. But if you get too demanding regarding price, then it's just someone else is just going to come in and be like, hey, like I like them too, but I'm not here to rip you off, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a trouble, a bit of trouble for me trying to figure out how to price things.
Because how do you say no to that? If someone goes up to, oh, so you want $50, and you're just like, oh no, I actually want $8.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's such a rare thing to happen,
It was difficult navigating that to begin with, but eventually I just had to come up with a standard format, like an average price per rarity tier, and sort of go with that. At the end of the day, I had limited stock. It was just tricky. So I ended up going down a path where I was only really wanting to stock campaign promos and higher because they were the best. That's where it's like, it's a massive jump. As much as they're high quality, like from common to super rare, whatever. Once you get to the campaign promo, it's a massive jump in quality for the price point, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, that year was realizing that I want to price campaign promos around the $8 mark, ultimate rares around your $25 to $30 mark, and then secrets are sort of on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I probably had like 30 or 40 cards on the website.
Yep. very much in its infant stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really happy with it, with like the design. I did the best I could, but I wasn't a web developer, and I just didn't have the time, to be perfectly honest, around work. So it sort of just sat like that for about a year. And right around the start of COVID, which was after the next Japan trip, I just couldn't help myself. I needed to get back.
Someone that didn't want to go overseas, now it's just like, I need to go like all the time. It is fantastic. Food, people, fantastic. But anyway, you've gone back.
Yeah. So that was like December, January 2019, 2020. I was there for about a month that time, showing a friend around, revisiting some places. A couple of like my favorite little shops, like card shops, whatever, had closed down.
That's sad. Yeah.
In the span of like 6 months. So I was devastated because one of them was a big contact of mine and was willing to just let me go through like boxes and boxes of just mint raw cards that he had behind the counter.
Yeah.
And I tried chasing them up. They just disappeared. It was like one of those stalls at like a desert market where they just disappear in a puff of smoke,
Yeah. That's rough.
So that trip was dedicated to getting some more cards, getting back into the swing of things with some delicious food and people, meeting good people, but making contacts, because at that point I didn't really have any decent way of getting cards reliably. Most importantly, in good condition.
Yes. Because it played cards on arcade machines, so I'd imagine they'd see some heavy use.
Yeah, they're obviously high quality, but you're physically, like you get the card out of the machine, you slap it onto this glass with like a plastic cover screen, and to play the game, you don't just sit it there. Like it prompts you to use the card to move it back and forth, make attacks.
You slide it around and stuff.
Bang them into each other. I mean, so, which, adds another point to how arcade card games, not having sealed product years down the line, you end up in a position where the older the cards are, the more likely they are to be quite damaged from the play because of how you have to play with them, right? You might be a kid who can, sleeve up the card and whatever, but over time, it's still going to get like scratches.
Yeah. So the machines do work with like sleeve cards and stuff. I'd imagine they would have to, but
You can't use too much of it on the cards, otherwise it just won't pick it up.
Yeah. How does it read it? Just like overhead cam or?
No, there's a chip in the back of the card.
Really?
It's like I don't know what kind of code you would call it, but it reads it. And every card's unique, obviously.
That's really cool. Yeah.
It's led to some people being able to print off just codes that people put online.
Yep.
So they don't have to get the cards to play with.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Which is cool to see, because some of the cards that are really playable are like $200 or $300, right?
Yep.
And primarily it is a kid's game at the end of the day. So it's good for them. But that last trip, that was right before COVID. That was primarily for contacts. So I ended up, again, through Pokemon. Pokemon seems to bring everyone in any kind of card community together for some reason.
It's a good gateway TCG. Yeah.
It is, yeah. I was just in a random card shop, as you do, middle of the weekday. No one else was in there except one Japanese guy named Dai. He was learning a bit of English. I was trying to learn a bit of Japanese.
Yep.
And I asked him like what he was like looking for, Pokemon wise. And we ended up spending like the next few days together,
cool.
Just hanging out, talking about cards. I was telling him how Heroes are so cool. I want to make it a thing outside Japan. And he was really helpful. So from there, like it went from like him essentially being like a man on a mission. Whenever he wasn't at work, he was running around places getting cards for me and sending them over.
What a legend. Yeah.
To a couple of the more frequent hobby stores that we were accessing. That there's a lot of hobby stores in Japan, but not everyone has Heroes cards.
Yep.
A lot of them just stick to their TCGs. But we found a couple that had really friendly owners and that loved Heroes and other arcade card games. So that led to a relationship with them to the point now where a lot of our stock comes through them. And it has really made it a streamlined process to get stock that I feel comfortable offering people. I'll touch on that in a sec. So essentially these people, that have these hobby stores, mostly in, there's one in Nagoya and there's one in Osaka. And essentially they get collections traded in, like full collections all the time. And I'm in a unique position where I essentially get offered anything that might be remotely interesting. Majority Heroes cards, but quite often other old school card series, which has been a direction that I've been branching out in recently, that you just don't see anywhere. Like 20, 30-year-old like one-piece cards and that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Which has been really awesome to see, to have access to, you know, it's, as much as I love Heroes cards, when you're dealing with them every day for years,
spice it up every now and again.
Yeah, you gotta have something. So these like old school cards that I'm just finding, and there's new ones coming through every other day. It's exciting, you know. They're really reigniting that flame. Like I've got the passion for the hero stuff, and now I'm starting to get this other passion for this other stuff too. And it's just been a really interesting experience. Yeah. So the best part about having this setup with my business partners, I guess, over there, is the cards that I can offer people are purely gradable. So that's always been something I've wanted to do since I started, because they are purely for collecting outside Japan, right?
Yeah. So they need to be in good condition.
They've got to be in good condition, because
Australian market,
especially because of what happened with COVID. Like obviously everything hobby went boom. I'm sure you've covered this and will cover this with pretty much everyone you talk to on here.
Yes. Yeah.
But with everything going boom and then everyone wanting to grade cards and the huge amount of demand for graded cards that has built up over the last couple of years, no one wants anything that's even slightly damaged. If someone's breathed on the card, they don't want it.
Everybody is so picky. Look, it's good and bad. It just makes it a nightmare. Like if I get a card and like I'll buy it with the intent of grading it, I'll import some stuff from Japan as well. And I get it and it's got like a ding on it or something. I'm like, if it's slightly obvious, I'm like, this is going to be so hard to move now. Like, because everybody will buy it for grading. And our Beckett grades Heroes.
Yes.
So is PSA now started doing it as well?
Yeah, they started maybe a year ago.
Yeah, it's not long ago they started. Yeah. Because I sent one to PSA for Jack. I bought one after, you know, I had a chat with you and I got introduced to them. I actually bought a promo for Jack as a part of his birthday present. And we sent it to PSA and they were like, what the hell is this? Nah, came back. I had no idea.
They're a bit picky for a while. They were a bit picky. Beckett is more open to grading much of anything, as long as you can vet it through the proper channels.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I've been learning, you know, more and more so, as I was talking about, like there's old card series that you just wouldn't have heard of. Like for all your mainstay anime, Japan has come out with so many cards over the years, it's actually ridiculous. And through sending them to Beckett, you know, I've got to be able to give them the info. Otherwise, they're just going to send them back to me. Say, what is this? We can't grade it.
Yeah.
PSA seems a lot more, I don't know how to describe it exactly, a bit more ruthless in what they'll allow people to get graded. They also have way more volume, so it's pretty understandable.
Yeah, they're just like, we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
We sent one card and it didn't get graded the first time. And Jack's like, I'm going to try again. He sent it again, it came back graded. And he's just like, oh, God damn it. So, yeah, it's just like, you do have to understand, a lot of volume is moving through those hands. And it would be so much to handle as well. Particularly they're given time limits to grade stuff as well.
Yeah.
So they're like, I've got no time. I can't do it. Just put it in a reholder, just send it back, sort of thing. So I get it. But yeah, with the whole condition of cards, like it's good that you're actually able to find a trustworthy source and that you actually went out and networked. You actually did it right as well. You haven't just tried to find anybody to do it. You've gone and find somebody that you've built a relationship with this person, and therefore they have that element of respect and want to work together well as well. Because I feel what I've been told and what I've experienced as well, that's like it's a part of the culture over there, right?
100%.
You know, I mean, it's part of culture anywhere. Like you're going to work better together if you've actually got a relationship that you've built, but more so important, I found it has a higher purpose over there from what I've been told and informed about and experienced. So
definitely. Without that kind of relationship, it's just, it would have been impossible to scale anything with any amount of volume, right? Impossible in a lot of ways. You know, maybe I'd be able to be sourcing, you know, 10 or 20 Grail secret rares or something for an update, right? But at the end of the day, maybe I would actually want to list on the website 4 or 5 of them because the rest are just too damaged. And then I've way overspent. I can't even, like, there's no way to make that money back at that point. So there was, it was impossible to scale to any degree without this relationship happening. So I'm very glad that it did. And yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest, one of the biggest things that I pride what I've done so far on, just purely being able to offer not only like the range and having brought Heroes to the West outside Japan. Before it was a thing, obviously.
Yeah.
When I was talking about searching on eBay,
cool,
you know, there's two listings. Like, it's kind of...
You're the hipster of the DB Heroes community.
Hey, you know, maybe I am. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of mind-blowing thinking back to that. Any kind of scenario like that it's really strange to consider and compare to what things are like a couple of years down the line. But yeah, being able to offer the gradable cards at scale with a large volume is one of the biggest things that I'm most proud of, I think, because that's all anyone wants. As it is just collectors in the market, right? There's no players.
Yeah.
So
a bit hard to play without
exactly
machines,
right?
And yeah.
Unless people wanted to go back over to Japan, which, I mean, you can buy the flights if you want. At the moment, bloody expensive. But when everyone over here, or America, New Zealand, Europe, whatever, there's been a lot of interest. I think like maybe 60% of the customers are in Australia.
Yep.
Wherever you are, you're doing it as a collector. So you want the mint, the gradable stuff, right? And that's sort of what I realized pretty early on, that's what I need to offer, or this isn't really going to work. So especially, you know, after you deal with a couple of those people where you ship out a couple of things that might have had a little bit of damage, and then they just send them straight back. It might be a little speck, but it doesn't really matter.
The worst is when you take a picture of it and it's visibly there. Oh, this is damaged. I'm like, yes, it says near mint, and I've taken a picture of that particular part of the damage. It's on the listing. And they're like, no, I want to return it. I'm like, so it never happened a couple of times, but every time my blood boils just that little bit. Like, yeah. But I get it. It's good. You've made like a good market. You've got like mint products in. It's great. Like, it's to the point where like when DB Heroes came about, like your passion for it is what sparked me to actually show an interest in it. And I'm very much about how things like sort of, because I don't play it. I play the Pokemon TCG a little bit, but obviously I'm not going to go out and play Heroes. I like to admire things like the cards, as I collect graded cards, you know, Suicune, Entei, Raikou for Pokemon, and you know, Vegeta for Dragon Ball. And then, so therefore I bought some Heroes cards for that matter. And I remember every time I think Heroes, it's like, oh, you. So it's like when I went into a store the other day, I'm like, you got Heroes packs. Do you know this person? They're like, no. I'm like, well, you should. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Yeah. So you've built, in my opinion, I may be biased because I knew you prior.
Yeah.
And I've seen you kicking around the, like, obviously the Pokemon groups before that. And, you know, you came into the scene at a similar time to myself as well. Me and Jack also hopped on the evolution sort of, what reignited it for us. Yeah.
Right.
So, and we were on the back end of 2016. Yeah, maybe I've got that little bit of prejudice there or bias with, you know, having already known you. But, you know, what a lot of the times when I see like any questions pop up about Heroes, it's you were tagged or like you're already there sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, well, so basically the start of COVID, right? That's when work from home became a thing. And I suddenly had time. And also a couple of people that were, after they got the first couple cards from me, were just like hardcore fans.
Yeah.
And they would push me every single day, like, get a website up, like, you know, relaunch the website, get this happening, blah, blah, blah. We want more of this, want that. It was difficult initially because postage had just closed down for Japan at the same time.
I remember that era, actually. Yeah, I'd completely erased that from my memory until you've just brought that up now.
Yeah. Absolute nightmare. So I ended up having to work out some okay contracts with DHL initially.
Yep.
To actually just get things over. And obviously at that point it was everything going, like massive shipments and trying to work things out where I could and get things set up for the relaunch, which was June 19th, 2020. And I basically just like did it from scratch. Put some money into it, put some more time into it, got some help from people that actually had any idea what they were doing. And the biggest thing that I wanted to do was, one, get the best quality photos I could. Because I don't know, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I know that they're good quality cards. And I don't want to just be taking something on my Nokia
It's all in the
and just
marketing.
chucking it up.
Yep.
You know, because it's hard enough to show them off on a good day with a good camera, right? I just want people to like them enough to buy one or two, see what they're like in person, and then they're hooked.
To experience it. Yeah,
yeah, to experience it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just spent ages. I tried to figure out different ways to get photos. It's obviously changed over time. Still changing.
How have you found the best way of getting those photos now?
So you need your macro lens, you need a proper camera, you need proper lighting. Like I found that video LEDs are pretty good, really easily adjustable. Also, black velvet is a really good backdrop. Now I'm in a space where I'm trying to do more with them because of there's so much detail on any given Heroes card, right?
There's a lot going on.
So like this is a secret rare. And you've got the art, you've got shadow foil, you've got silver foiling everywhere as well. And the biggest trouble I have, like I'll literally have a stack of a couple thousand cards that I don't have photos for yet for an update. And I'll be sitting here, I'll be putting a card in the right spot, and I'll be trying to get like the right angle for every single card. I adjust the lights, right? And maybe, I don't know, maybe the shadow foil's too prominent or whatever. So now I'm doing a thing where it'll look good with the lights on, and then I'll switch the lights off, and there'll be some kind of like, I've done this weird setup where there'll be like some kind of backlighting where it'll only catch the silver foil.
It catches particular, you've like isolated particular elements of a card so you can see like those different elements that you can appreciate. You're not going to get that in one picture.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this sense, it was just to capture, you've got your ultimate rares and your secret rares. Gold foil is the ultimate rares and silver foil is the secret rares. Mm-hmm. And they always mix that with like shadow foil or whatever. With this method, basically, you'll hover over the picture of the card on the website and it'll be acting like the light's being switched off. Mm. So you hover over it and the light will be switched off, and then the only thing that'll be like shining at you is like, you can still see the art and either the silver or the gold foil. And it's just like a really cool effect, and I really want to experiment more with it. But it's an example of, I guess, an extension of that passion and commitment that I have for the cards. Because even multiple years in, I'm still searching for like the best photo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That actually shows them off properly. So yeah, relaunching that website, the biggest thing I was trying to do was get the right photos, which was good to begin with. It's gotten better over time. And getting some info out there, because you can show them these things all you want, but if no one knows what they are, then obviously, maybe someone will buy some because they look cool. But so I had to write a couple of different articles. The Heroes 101 post is like easily the most popular page on the website, ahead of any cards or anything. It's essentially just like a summary of everything about the cards, some dot points, and it goes into it in detail. But that was one of the most important things for me, and a lot of people appreciated that. That's actually how the community grew initially. There were a few people that were interested, and we'd be talking about the cards, and I'd just be linking them this blog post, and they'd be linking it to other people when they finally had a card in their hand to show them. And then everyone was learning organically like that. And it was really, really cool to see, because even now, like, I'll just be scrolling. I don't really get on Facebook too much. I try to avoid all the groups to not waste too much time, but also I'll get caught up in any drama, because collector community, there seems to be a bit of that going around these days.
Yeah. So it's hard to stay out of it. I just have a deep breath and sort of just like, that's all right. Like, again, just comes back to the note, like, not everybody's going to like, you or what you're pushing.
Right. Exactly. But it's refreshing whenever I do see something mentioned about Heroes cards or my website. More often than not, especially if it's in a thread where someone may be new to them or asking questions about them, there's usually at least 2 or 3 people that either link the website or the blog post, or someone commenting on the photos, and it just sort of like makes you feel a bit warm inside, because that's what I put so much effort into initially, and I've continued to try and do so over time.
Well, it's good to also like have, like, you've obviously spent so much time writing that post and trying to educate people as well. It's not unfair or unnatural for you to get that satisfaction of that post being and that work being appreciated.
Yeah.
So not working at all. There's nothing wrong with that post being appreciated. Like, you've put hard work in. It's natural for it to be appreciated, and you're going to get that element of satisfaction from people, spreading the good word that you've put out about something that you are passionate about. So that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's from the day of relaunch, it's just felt like everything hasn't stopped. Like a train that have you seen Snow? There's a show on Netflix.
I've seen Snow.
You've seen Snow, that's good.
I got to Snow every year.
Snowpiercer.
Yes,
it's about
yes.
a train that just never stops.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's felt like that every single day since June 19th, 2020. Even through more difficult times, everyone has issues that come up, personal issues, whatever.
Yeah.
Through work, navigating, getting things out to people, figuring out a system to manage it. Like, I mean, you can certainly speak to this far more than I can, but going from a position where you've got an idea and a product or whatever, something that people want, to a point where you can provide it to them in a timely fashion. You've got a range of options available. There's a massive community invested in it. Like, it's such a really difficult space to navigate, and you're thinking about it 24/7.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. As a business owner now, you don't, work doesn't stop. So it's like you say, those memes and TikToks and stuff. They're like, oh, I never wanted to work 9 till 5, and now I'm self-employed and work 24 hours a day every day. And that isn't so true. Like, you may not be working on it, but you are thinking about it all the time. And a lot of people, particularly in TCG and a lot of other industries as well, can be very demanding. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like everybody's demanding different things. And there's, in your instance, there's only one of you, right? We got a couple of people here working, and we get around to everything. It's just we can't do it all at once. And, you've already experienced, feedback can sometimes be put in a better way, like instead of just ripping the cards apart, like, or trying to shoot down like what you're trying to peddle, essentially. Critical feedback's awesome.
It is.
It promotes change. Like, even the people that aren't super happy about that, on like particular things on forums, you'll still listen to it, but it's just like, you just want to urge and be like, oh, you could go about this in a bit of a more productive way. But at the end of the day, it's still feedback. Don't promote that kind of behavior, but it is what it is. Feedback's always good, So it's good that you still listen to it. And obviously, you've already adapted to it without, I imagine, really needing to be asked to. You're already reading markets. You're like, cool, well, for this to be successful, I need to make sure they're mint because everybody wants to grade stuff, and inevitably they will want to grade these things. So you're already reading it. You're hitting your target markets really, really well. You've promoted it to the point, where I associate Heroes as your brand, essentially, which is wild to think about.
It is weird to think about that, given that, I didn't make Heroes.
No.
But, I sometimes I feel like I did. Or at least I wish
These
I wish
Japanese
that I
businessmen
did.
are just like fly in on the next flight, be like, no.
It does get a bit awkward sometimes thinking, if it continues to grow, having the DBHeroes domain, especially, my last trip, I just got back a couple weeks ago, and during that trip, I was at Bondi, and it just felt a bit, I don't know how to describe it exactly. When you're at the front of their building, and you see all the statues from all the different IP, and they're like into the clouds, 90-story like monstrosity in East Tokyo. And you go in and you're waiting for someone to come down so you can try and, have a chat with the Heroes team or whatever. It just makes me feel very, 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 very small when, it has felt like I've sort of made Heroes a thing to the Western audience. Yeah. Outside Japan. Like that was the goal at the start. It's been the goal since the start. There's been a lot of progress there. There's been a lot of other people, like in America, things like Whatnot, that has absolutely taken off, where people have, found that niche as well. It's been really cool to see that growth. Like, obviously, I'm not responsible for all of it, but I know that there was a key part played there.
Yeah, for sure. Let's pedal back a little bit as well. You went to Bandai, right? So how was that? How did you want to just rock up or just email someone? Like, how did that come about?
I'm not sure how much I can really say.
Oh.
Actually,
rock up next time. There's just a big, tall statue of Jake. Side Bandai. Yeah, well,
not quite, but no, I'm not sure how much I can say. Look, I ended up there through a friend that I made in the card space that has he has a card game.
Okay. Yep.
His head of marketing was a customer of mine.
Okay.
Before they came out with the game, and was a big fan of the cards, and had supported me previously. And when they came out with some of their like first cards,
which trading card game is this, by the way?
It's a special one.
We're not allowed to talk about it, are we?
Well, if I say what it is, then I have to go into other things.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sweet.
So I reached out to them because they had some like really sick new foils, like full art foils. And the excitement that I had for it, like I felt a similar way to when I was first looking at Heroes cards, right?
Okay.
So I let them know that. And they were like, damn, that's really cool. We're actually talking about reaching out to you. They were at a convention or something in America. And apparently like a day or two before I messaged them, they were thinking about reaching out to me to try and make something happen with their cards because it is a similar thing.
Yeah.
It's a similar identity. Like there's a lot of Japanese inspiration. There's a lot of really cool artwork, a lot of really cool foiling. And that's what I like so much about Heroes cards, right? So anyway, I reached out to them and we've had a few chats. I met them for the first time in Japan in this last trip. And at a convention they were at recently, they met someone from Bondi, like from their card research team.
Yep.
Through them organizing a meeting, I was just sort of inevitably there with them.
Yeah.
And it just sort of rolled from there.
Yeah, cool.
Just, I don't know, these things just sort of happen. I don't really...
Well, I mean, you got to be in it to win it. You've networked, as you said before, like you've gone about it in the right way. You've built like good connections and stuff. So it just goes to show that like, no opportunity is too small. It can lead to vastly bigger and better things. So you wouldn't have, particularly if you didn't originally put yourself outside of the comfort zone of just saying, like, send it. Like, I'm just going to go to Japan now. Like, imagine if you never made that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to go outside your comfort zone anywhere, in any facet of life. Otherwise you'll never... I don't think anyone will ever be successful in any way, shape or form, like business or otherwise.
Proof makes diamonds. So then on the last podcast, I'll say it again. I'll say it every damn podcast.
He has said it in every podcast.
I am going to continue that tradition. Dead set. We'll continue that tradition. So we obviously can't touch any more on the Bandai stuff. We can leave that to rest, obviously. I don't know what stuff we've got in.
Maybe in the next year or so, I'll be able to talk more about it.
Brad, we'll just have to have you on again.
It's just a long con. In the next place.
He's just like, I can't say anything about it. I'm going to give Vod back. Cool. All right. Well, we've spoken about the cards that you're really, really passionate about.
Yep.
You've bought some stuff to open. We're going to turn on another cam.
No worries.
And we're going to open some Heroes cards.
Here we go. So I brought a few things with me today. Got some sleeves. Now, guys, these are some of the best sleeves in the game.
I heard the guys that run that company are pretty good looking.
100%. Some of them are pretty good names too.
Jack.
Jack. Jacob.
Nick.
I've been called all of these before.
I forget that other one though.
So this here. So we've talked a bit about how there isn't sealed product for Heroes, which is true for the actual arcade cards, right? Now, in Heroes, I mean, check out dbheroes.com.au/Heroes101. Okay, that's the blog post. It'll tell you everything about the cards, all the rarities. You'll be fully up to scratch with these cards. One of the rarities, right? So you got common, rare, super rare, campaign promo, ultimate rare, and secret rare. They are all from the arcade machines, right? There's another rarity called promo. It's just a P on the back of the card. And you can get those as magazine inserts, like with V-Jump magazine in Japan, or from promotional booster packs, like these ones. So essentially, Bandai will come out with a promo set like this every 6 months or so. They've been doing it since around 2014. Originally, up until maybe 2.5 years ago, these promo boxes, you'd buy a box and every pack would have 3 cards in it. And on the back of the pack, it'll tell you exactly what cards are in it. And the whole box had every card in the set. Then they started doing an alt art card, where you'd get every card in the set except like maybe 1 or 2, and the packs wouldn't be labeled. And now they've moved on for this set and the one before this, where 1 in 3 or 4 boxes you get like a secret promo, and you might get 4 or 5 of the 7 main hits in a box, and you might still be missing a couple other cards too. So yeah, that's the state of promo cards. Obviously, they're not going to have the same value, even some of the nicer looking ones, as your arcade cards, because they are a sealed commodity. They do print quite a few of them as well. But having the secret promo as a chase now is quite nice. Hopefully we get one today.
Fingers crossed.
This set, the secret is a SS3 Goku with a few DBZ characters behind him. So if we see that, we'll be jumping because it's like $150
Right.
roughly.
Yep.
The boxes are relatively cheap.
So what would you sell these on your website?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So what do one of these fetch on your
the
website?
latest one will usually, it'll be up there like with discounts or whatever. It'll be around 90 to 100 shipped.
Yep.
But every box, what I offer exclusively, and this goes for every order as well. So every box will come with a box topper that I put in. It'll be sleeves and a Palms Off Gaming sleeve. It'll be put in a Palms Off Gaming graded card holder.
Stop it, you. Stop it.
No, it's true, mate. I've been using your stuff for packaging and everything.
Can we just give you a bunch like a cases of sleeves and stuff, and you can give them away with orders over X amount? Can we do that? Can we just say that we're doing that now?
I mean, I'd love to do that.
Can we just give you a couple of cases and any order of $50, you just throw in a pack of soft sleeves?
Sweet, yeah.
Done. Cool.
You guys will love that.
Shameless plugs.
So yeah, I'll always put in a box topper. It'll always be a foil, usually like a campaign promo or higher. 1 in every 20 boxes or so, I'll put in like an ultimate or a secret.
Rad. Yep.
And yeah, they're beautifully protected, so they can't like get damaged when they're in there like that. It's not just a loose card.
Yep.
By no means. And every order, since the first day, I've always put in. You actually inspired me to do this, by the way.
Thank you cards.
Your bonus stuff, right?
Ah, yeah, little packs
Not
and stuff.
necessarily thank you cards, but like a bonus promo booster pack, a bonus like card or 2. Generally, especially for like return customers, I'll know their favorite character.
Yeah.
Or if they're from the community already, then that helps a lot. And especially if they're a return customer, so I don't end up giving them like doubles.
Yeah.
But yeah, and people have always been really appreciative of that. And
it means a hell of a lot to some people. I wish I could continue doing that. Like I did it on a curated level to a certain capacity, but now obviously we just can't do it, right?
Of course.
It's just that so much volume, right? But like it's so nice as a returning customer to get like something that's just curated or picked out for you. Like some people, you remembering people and their orders would just be complimentary enough, So yeah.
Definitely. Especially when like they've already got a lot of hero stuff already. And maybe there's some other cool Dragon Ball cards from like 2005 or something that have come in. And I can be like, here you go. And then they send me a message as soon as they get the package. They're like, what's this? I want more. There's just been a lot of cool moments like that. But every one of these will come with a box topper, which in itself is valued at least like $8, sometimes up to 30 or 40. So that's these, right? Now, the coolest thing about this Heroes is in Japan exclusively, right? The Heroes Japanese cards are in Japan. But about 2 years ago, Bandai expanded their reach to Hong Kong and Taiwan. So they actually have some machines in Hong Kong and some in Taiwan. With Heroes cards, they're still made in Japan as well, but they started from Universe Mission, which is like 2 expansions ago. And they're still in Universe Mission. They're quite slow to progress, but all the cards, most of the foils, the color will be different.
Yep.
To the Japanese versions.
So it's like a regional sort of exclusive sort of
Yeah.
vibes.
It's still got Japanese text on them as well.
Yep.
But yeah, regional exclusive. And the set numbers are different as well. They put in like a C or a T alongside like your UM or whatever in the card number. So the most interesting part of that is actually that they have the arcade machines and you win the cards from those machines, but they also make boxes with, I think it's 15 packs or 20 packs of 3 cards in each for the actual Hong Kong and Taiwan arcade cards. Cool. Which packs for those, like, just to reiterate, don't exist in Japan.
Yep.
For the actual arcade cards, you have to get them from playing the machine or secondhand.
So these cards, safe to say, won't work on Japanese machines.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are cool, especially as someone that, massive Heroes person, having any kind of sealed product for Heroes is cool.
Yes.
So I've been getting one of each box just to display them as they've come out from Taiwan. Yeah, we can open up some of these. Each of these will have I believe there's 1 ultimate rare or 1 secret rare in the whole box.
Cool.
Universe Edition 8, that means there's a chance that we'll pick up the Goku Grail or the Taiwan Hong Kong variant of it, which is just going to be a UMT8 instead of UM8. It's going to look exactly the same for this one. So hopefully we can find it.
Fingers crossed.
And yeah, I've got something else that I can show you guys once we open these packs.
Yeah, cool. All right, tuck in, lead the way.
Let's go straight into these variant packs. All right.
I'm so excited for these.
You wait until you feel them after.
I'm keen.
I think you, out of all people, will appreciate these. Nick even likes them quite a lot.
There you go. Now, how do we want to do this with this setup?
Usually we just open, and then this is the thing. Usually, I'll know what I'm opening to a certain capacity, but I have no idea what I'm opening. So I'm gonna have to rely on your reactions here as well. So maybe we just go. We'll do one at a time, and
so it's the classic peel down the side.
Cool.
So we got a Mr. Satan, we got Cubba, and so each pack will have 2 commons, right, at the front.
And you got a rare at the back.
And at the back, you can see on the back of them, this is a good example for the rarities. So commons will be 1 star. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rares will be 2 star, and rares will have the gold stamp foil on them, and that's it with the art. 3 star is the super rare rarity, and that's
Toa?
just purely shadow foil. Yeah, we got a Toa.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
For all those listening on Spotify, you can head over to the YouTube portion of this video to appreciate the cards. Definitely do, because they look awesome.
I can tell from here how thick they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
awesome.
card stock is probably twice or maybe even more than a regular TCG card.
She's thick. Got a Trunks,
Kid Gohan, Zener Gohan, and then an SSB Goku. So I think there might be 2 campaign promos in the box.
Yep.
And then the 1 ultimate rare or secret rare.
So promos are denoted by what?
So promos will have a P. Campaign promos, which it is important to distinguish the difference. So campaign promos, you do get them from the machines. Promos, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Promos are just a P. Campaigns are CP.
Yeah. Very, very aptly
Yeah.
labeled. Yeah.
So we got a Krillin. We've got a Paragus and a Zener Goku rare.
Do you watch the promotional anime as well for this? Or not
Yeah,
really?
of course.
Yeah.
So that's another thing for Heroes. They have a promotional anime, 8-minute episodes that runs purely to promote the actual arcade game. Oh, you got a 4-star?
Yes.
Oh, that's
So
actually probably one of the nicest ultimates in this set.
Oh, spicy, isn't it? I haven't revealed it yet.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was your question?
I've forgotten.
Uh,
No, we're talking about Heroes, the
of course.
animated series. So
Yeah.
you watch it, obviously.
Yes.
Vegeta. I collect Vegeta as well. Hell
Ooh.
yeah.
There we go. So
Bang.
Darcy has just pulled the Dark Gogeta. It's essentially Gogeta fused or taken over by Finn, which is a Heroes character, really cool villain. Has featured in DBS previously.
Yep.
Like a lot of hero stuff has crossed over. And the foiling on that is sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Heavy,
I feel bad for those
gold
Spotify
foil.
listeners, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, well, head over to it and appreciate it on YouTube, because it is fantastic. It's on the sleeve now, but you won't appreciate it very much. But it's beautiful.
Beautiful ultimate rare. So yeah, in the back of your ultimate rares, you'll have the 4 stars, and then when it's a secret, it's exactly the same, but the colors are inverted. So it'll be black stars on a white background.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it'll say sec in the set number, obviously. Yeah. All right. Well, you've pulled the big card. So I don't think I have anything else in my pile except maybe a couple campaign promos.
About time I actually pulled some luck. We had Sad the other week pull the Zard from the new high class boxes.
Ah, yeah.
Another 4 stars inverted. It's red. What's that?
Oh, we got 2 ultimate rares in this box.
Hell yeah! It's Vegeta too.
Hadn't seen more than one before
It's
this
my
day.
Yeah, Trunks.
All right.
Another Vegeta
Mirror.
card. Oh, I'm running hot today.
Oh, Ribrion Super Rare versus, what did you get? A Super Saiyan 4 Xenoverse Vegeta. That's sick.
It doesn't usually happen? 2 of those in the
Well,
same?
I don't really open these boxes too often. You know, it's not really something you come across very often. This was straight out of my personal collection, actually.
Oh, mad dog.
So, yeah, the other ones I've opened, maybe half a dozen, and they've all just had 1 ultimate or 1 secret.
Yeah, right.
So you're lucky, you got both. So this is cool. In Universe Mission 8, they actually you'll notice that the stars were red.
Yep.
So sometimes they'll do like a themed set or a themed amount of ultimate rares in a set.
Yep.
Where they'll all be similar aesthetically. So in this set, there's half a dozen different ultimate rares that have exclusively the red foiling, because normally ultimates will be gold.
Yes.
Right? And in saying that, like, they're all, most of them are SS4 form, and the stars are all red to match that aesthetic. So
That's cool.
yeah,
There's little details that make a cool difference, I reckon.
definitely. Okay. Will I pull any good cards today?
Dude, I've got another 4 now, I reckon. Imagine. Krillin.
We got a Boo
Yes.
and just a Goku
Whis.
rare. All right. What's going on?
They're so busy, like the cards. they're very busy cards, but I think a lot of us collectors can appreciate that, because over the top is a lot of the times what we seek out.
Yeah, and the thing with that is that
Three?
this kind of over top art style, especially with the heavy levels of foiling as well, it doesn't really work as much. It can work. It doesn't work most of the time on something like a TCG card that has text all over it, because it really takes away from it and it just becomes too much.
Mhm.
So the fact that these don't have text is a massive plus.
Yeah.
And I've pulled my first campaign promo, so we got a rare Vegeta and Gogeta, and we have a Super Vegito.
That's cool. Like the blues and the reds together.
Yeah.
Pop.
And probably one of the coolest things that hasn't really been touched on is that with all of the insane foiling, it's also textured. So once you get to the campaign promos and higher, you can feel the quality.
Yeah. Yeah, you dead set
Quite
can.
literally.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to see it through the opening today, but campaign promos, that rarity slot functions in a way where every set will have 1, 2, or 3 campaign promo subsets. So you can see the rarity on the back there, CP. Essentially, the subsets, each subset will have 6 to 20 odd, depending on the set, usually 6 to 10 cards that all have matching art styles.
Yep. Yeah, cool.
So for this one, right, we've got the Super Vegito swinging the sword, or swinging Boo in this case. He's got Boo by the head there. Pretty much all of the other ones are identical. Like you'll have SS3 Goku swinging someone around, regular Goku, blah, blah, blah. That's all got the same color palette, the same art style in the background, just the characters are different.
Yep.
So for collectors, that's awesome, because not only are campaign promos like heavily detailed, really, really good value for money, but you can collect sets of them. So for display purposes, they're perfect as a collector.
Yeah. Jack and I just received our Dragon Ball Super delivery for the 5th anniversary.
Yep.
We get the premium boxes from America, and the way their foiling system works is they just had like a 9-pocket binder in mind. So they're basically just like 1, 2, 3 foil, same color, like
Nice.
green, red, gold sort of thing. And then when you lay it all out, and you can just appreciate it straight away. Like, cause there's again, coming back to those like little factors that, you can't help but appreciate when you understand that, that's actually a thing.
Yeah, Bandai, I mean, it's been really noticeable with DBS, like with the quality and how they've released things over the last few years, in that, Heroes was a pretty exclusive space that was purely for collectors, but Bandai has made a lot of effort to bring more collector items for Dragon Ball Super card game to collectors now as well.
They get collectors' volumes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like actual books that come out, yeah.
Yeah. It's been awesome to see that they've gone down that path.
Yeah. Piccolo, Frieza, and Jiren.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing the reworked arts, even with the secret rares. They're redone the secret rares for Super as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that Broly. That Broly's really nice.
I've got a couple of copies over there. I'll show you in a bit. They're awesome. I rate it.
No, there's been a lot of crossover, like, in the communities. Like, obviously, right? A lot of the original Heroes community came from the DBS space.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So we got a common, super rare. Got your shadow foil there. 1 pack left.
Maybe 3 of the full.
There should be a campaign in one of them, unless we had it swapped.
I've got unless it's swapped.
There we
You
go.
got one. Yeah,
I got
sick.
one.
Awesome. So Vegeta, Krillin,
Kai.
and Goku.
Got a rare, and there we go.
There
we
it
got
is.
the Vegeta, which is fortunate. It wasn't one of the other campaign promo types.
So you can actually see what we've, again, like if you're not watching this, just go and watch the last portion just on YouTube, just to appreciate
You
the
can see that they
coordination.
match, the art style matches perfectly. And as much as everything is foiled, it's all textured. The background blue foiling is textured. You can sit here touching your cards all day, although I'd advise against it because, you don't want to damage them.
greasy little digits on the look on the cards.
Yes.
Particularly with these, the foil is so like, as soon as you touch it, if your hands are slightly sort of clammy or slightly dirty, it's just straight away fingerprint.
Yeah,
sort of
look,
thing.
grading them has been, prepping them for grading is a task.
Yes.
You guys should come out with some lens cloths.
Yes. We should.
Yes, you should.
I'd also be curious to see what you do by prepping if we can get that on camera.
Yeah, no worries.
We don't have a lens cloth.
No, but like we'll do like a vlog segment.
We
Yeah.
don't have one of those.
Raw.
Yeah.
It's not a very heavily involved process, but if you don't know anything about it, or
I use a little bit of just lightly like that, and then with a lens cloth, that's how I do mine. It's probably you're probably like taboo. No, never bring it on them.
no. You do that. That's exactly what you do. And a lot of people don't because they're scared to do that. But you have to do that. You have to. One, it reveals the fingerprints or any scuffs, any kind of oil, whatever. And you're not going too hard. It's not like it's making it damp.
Yeah.
It fades almost immediately, but you know where to clean it. But yeah, there's a process. I could go into it. But let's open some packs. We can maybe discuss that a bit.
Yeah, sick. Cool.
Later.
We've got 20 minutes left on this one, so we're looking pretty good. I reckon we'll get there.
Speed run.
We'll speed run it. We'll get there. We will get there. That was a good box. That was fun.
That's so cool. I can't wait to.
They're really nice looking. Yeah, we've got to get you on a TCG. Actually, you don't collect anything
That's
yet.
going to be one of the vlogs.
I got some samples to give you.
Go around to
Yeah.
people that we sell stuff to, and then they make a case.
Yeah, sell me. Why am I going to collect this? And if you can sell me on it, I'll buy a box.
Shark Tank.
Yeah.
All right.
We got Nick into Super. So Nick's into Super. I'm across Super and Pokemon, and probably Joel sold me on Flesh and Blood. The print quality's getting there, but I love the art. The art style I can
it's very
appreciate
nice. Flesh
so
and Blood.
much.
And I have a soft spot for anything that comes out of New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a spirit.
yeah, legit.
Yeah.
It's just good to see pretty much our cousin.
Something that's happening in this side of the world.
Dead set. Anyway,
Okay.
so what are we chasing in this box?
So there are 7 hit cards. You'll know them. They all have the same rarity on the back.
Yep.
P. How difficult they are to get will be indicated on a little leaflet inside.
Yep.
But it also should have it on the back.
So I would be safe to say this one here is the main.
The secret promo is that one.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
right.
Yeah.
They also have an alt art. So there'll be like a hit card, and there'll be an alt art version of that in this set.
Yeah,
so,
cool. It's got a little picture of the arcade machine on the front as well.
Yes.
It's kind of, I don't know if you can really see that 4K camera. Do your work. They look hectic. I would actually play this if I could read Japanese, and if they had the machines over here. I reckon that'd be such a fun. I think that'd pop off over here.
Look,
make it happen. Talk to your friends at Bandai.
If you had it, oh yeah, interesting. Maybe if there was in like a shop, maybe like a a TRA kind of shop, maybe.
Yeah.
In the future, possibly. Who knows?
We just get they didn't spill the beans.
I didn't hear anything.
No. Allegedly.
What's that?
I heard nothing. I didn't hear about anything. I know what you're talking about. We didn't have it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they don't really know too much. So
me either.
It's just
I know
plans.
nothing. I know nothing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But no. Once you actually get in front of a machine and you have these cards, right?
Yep.
Just gets you going. So one of the plans that I have, which I've openly talked about before, but with conventions, right?
Battery's gone on that. Cool. Images probably changed for those watching on YouTube because we have done 2 podcasts in one day, which is very unlike us. So we're exhausting our batteries. So now we're using mobile. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So, as of last year, started conventions, and similar with how I do everything, with the photos, with everything on the website, been trying to improve over time. There's a lot of things in the work for conventions next year. I think that'll culminate in PAX. So we'll be at PAX, right next to Cherry, actually. And one of the things that I'm really working hard to achieve for that, and at subsequent and surrounding Comic-Cons, is having an entire booth worth of space with some cardboard cutouts of Dragon Ball characters and other characters to take photos with, and a machine to play at the convention.
Cool. Yeah.
Ideally, it'll take $2 coins or whatever. Maybe some tokens will get done for it. It's a work in progress, but that's the end goal, I think.
Maybe a little exchange booth there. You have just a little money exchange booth there as well.
Yeah, I could do that, I guess.
Yeah. I'm an ideas man. I figure it out. All right, let's tuck into some packs before this other camera battery dies.
All right. So every card in these packs is foiled. And the card at the back is a list card, but the actual card at the back is the hit.
Sick.
Potential hit. So we both got a Janemba.
Start off with.
Yep. We got a Cooler. And that is Bio Broly.
Yeah, right.
From the Bio Broly movie. Heroes, the best thing about Heroes is that it encapsulates everything. Like everything Dragon Ball you could possibly imagine, from games, different manga, actual canon Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's got its own characters and storylines as well, obviously. So I've actually got my card's the first hit of the box. So we've got a Super Saiyan Goku. Beautiful teal foiling in the background there. So these hits, as I said, there's 5 to 7 in a box. These ones you're looking at, a similar price range to like a campaign promo.
Yep.
And then you'll have your 1 or 2 hits in a box that are worth a bit more than that.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, the coolest part about these promos is that they're all foil.
Yeah, they're all easy to admire.
Yes. Yeah, Heroes is perfect for any hardcore Dragon Ball fan because it encapsulates literally everything Dragon Ball's ever done. Oh, nice. You got a Vegeta foil there. I've also got a Vegeta foil. Super Saiyan 4 Limit Break. This is a Heroes exclusive form. So essentially, I don't think Limit Break's in DBS yet, is it? It's like
not SS4 is not canon anyway. So
yeah. Well, yeah, Limit Break. It's like SSB Evolution, but for SS4.
Yeah.
Bit of a pink aura. All right. We got a Piccolo. Who's that, Darcy?
I don't know.
we got a Garlic Junior.
Stop calling me out. I got a Beerus.
And this is actually the main villain from the Tapion movie.
Yes.
It's only the one main hit so far.
I've exhausted all my luck on the other box. You can have this one, man.
Thanks.
That's all right.
So you guys planning to do many conventions next year?
We're gonna do Hobby Hangout again.
Yeah.
We'll look to do more. It's just another one.
Oh,
let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Got the SSB Evolution Vegeta.
That's sick. That looks so cool.
Yeah. So this is one of the bigger hits in the box. So there's a Goku UI that's like this, like art style wise, and there's a Vegeta. So you get one of either of them in a box.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get both, and if you do, you can't get like the main secret.
Yeah.
So they're more of a chase than the other hits.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. We'll try to do more. It's just like we've got a lot of stuff in the pipelines as it is.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like we don't want to bite off more than we can chew, and we're big advocates if you're going to do something, do it right. So we're going to be going to Hobby Hangout, and we're going to be hitting that one hard. And yeah, we'll try to hit up some more cons, I think.
The biggest thing I've enjoyed so far from the business is actually just conventions. PAX was probably one of the best experiences of my life this year. It was fantastic. Like, just insane.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a hit?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So we got an SS4 Limit Break Goku, and we've got Kid, Goten, and Trunks.
I love the blue on gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that light baby blue sort of coming through.
Now, can we have a look at the back? A lot of these are prone, this card in particular, prone to these printing issues where there's white,
scratched out. Yeah, okay.
just white marks right across the back. I don't think I've had like maybe more than a dozen out of maybe 100 copies of this that haven't had that.
I haven't had it. Yeah, okay. So convention-based things. Right. Okay.
They're just exciting. And
Yeah.
it just really connects you from this, virtual space as much as,
Correct.
doing your live streams, posting on socials, interacting in that way. When you're doing it in person, it's like an entirely different thing. It's very surreal, especially meeting a lot of the community members.
Yeah. It's fun, like actually putting faces to names as well. Like we chatted about this on the previous cast. Like I am terrible with names. But like if I've had people come up to me like, oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm like, show me your Facebook. Like show me the chat. And they'll show me, I'm like, I instantly remember everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not to be like rude or anything like that. I just get like a few messages. Obviously it's hard to keep up. But it is really, really nice meeting everybody, putting not only their written persona together, but actually how they carry themselves. And it's just wholesome. It's just a wholesome experience. And then meeting other vendors as well is sick.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, at Comic-Con and PAX, PAX especially, as much as I do this solo, I have a couple friends. Nice Vegeta.
Sick. Vegeta.
A couple friends that tend to come out and help me with conventions.
Yep.
But personally, because it is a niche space, because people always have questions, that barrier of entry is always there. I've got some brochures and all these things that I hand out, and I can sit there and I can have a chat with every single person that comes by the booth about the cards, but I can't leave the booth.
No.
Because the instant anyone has any interest at all, like the guys, they know a bit, but it's
not as much. They're not as much of a wealth of information.
Yeah, you've really just got to indoctrinate them into this special kind of collectible,
Yeah, every time like we're blessed enough to have like, you know, a couple of people at the booth at a time, and we'll go on break, and I'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go wander. And I remember the first time we had one point of sale system. I don't think you were here.
No, I helped you with that.
Yeah, I think was it the first one you're at? Yeah, cool. And I was hotspotting my phone. And I just left.
Oh,
I was
man.
doing like a $500 order, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it doesn't work. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
We got it in the end, but yeah, like I just didn't think. I just left, and I was just like, oh yeah, crap. That's hotspotting. And then the boys just calling me. No, I mean, you could have hotspotted your own phones too. Like, but you called me. I came back, but I had my phone not on silent that time, so it actually worked out. But sometimes I don't think too good.
We'll let that stuff first.
We got another hit here. We got a ultimate. You got your Mystic Gohan. Beautiful gold foil on that promo.
Sick.
Yeah. So I think we're 4 cards in. There's at least one more hit. Hopefully we can get the SS3 Goku.
Fingers crossed.
But if we don't, tough luck, I guess. Okay, we got a Turles.
Beers again.
And
SS4 Goku.
Yep.
Yeah. Sick.
And a Broly foil there.
That's rad. I actually really like the SS4 stuff. Unpopular opinion.
SS4 is great. I don't know what people
I
complain
rate
about.
it. I reckon it's so cool. I wanted to make it canon. Yeah. That'd be my dream. It's unpopular opinion, but deal with it. It's fine. It's my opinion.
Hey, I mean, it's canon in Heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the most popular cards, forms, whatever, to come out of Heroes is Super Saiyan 4 Limit Break Broly.
Broly's such a popular character though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, such a popular. Is he just as, I imagine just as popular in Japan.
Definitely.
Look like Mr. Olympia of the Super Saiyans.
Oh, you got the last
Sick.
hit. You got
Go
a
on.
Gogeta.
Mad.
So that Gogeta and the Vegeta from earlier, probably the 2 best hits from the box.
Yep.
But yeah, there's the Vegeta. Got a Gohan.
That looks sick.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's inverted as well.
Yeah. And then you got your Kid Goten and Trunks foil as well.
Find him in here. He's in there somewhere. There you go. It's just so interesting opening the packs. It's just so satisfying opening a pack and them just all being foil and looking good and feeling good.
Right?
I guess we'll get into some, before this overhead cam dies, some of your favorite pieces of your collection, and then I guess we can
Yeah, no worries.
wrap it up.
One of my biggest things since I started this, probably the most popular card until, Bandai decided to go down alternate art path, GDRs and ultimate art in Heroes, GDRs for DBS, is the Grail cards. So in Heroes, there are things called, we kind of actually dubbed them Grail cards. That's how they got their name. An original community member always referred to it as the Goku Grail, this card here. Essentially, it's just a card that, ultimate rare or secret rare, that features a character with all their forms around them. In Japan, they're called Climax cards. And essentially how it works is you'll play it, and over the 5 rounds of the game, they will continue powering up until they get to their main featured form.
That's cool. Yeah.
And they get obviously incredibly strong and broken. So yeah, over the years, they've come out with 11 Climax cards. And since I started doing this, you've got to limit yourself somehow as a collector that is running the business with those cards. So
How many you can get in and be like, I'm just going to keep this one.
yeah, look, that was a difficult place to navigate for me. So I decided, okay, I'm already grading with Beckett. What I want to do is get, what's the coolest thing in Heroes at that point in time? Grail cards. So I want to somehow get all the Grail cards in the best grade, which is a black label, obviously, with Beckett, right? So I set down that path, and it sort of became like a thing where they were my Infinity Stones, except then they kept releasing more, every second set. So it's become a task. So as far as like a collection piece, this is probably like, collecting black labels has.
Yeah, I was about to say, because they just half, all these are just black labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So collecting black labels in general as a collector is like the ultimate, to me at least, and to a lot of people, it's like the ultimate way to collect graded cards, or just to collect cards in general.
Just the
right?
ultimate flex, my dude.
Well,
settle down there,
to
Arnold.
display them in your house in like a custom-made black like glass frame with some like Thanos gauntlet mixed with Dragon Ball like metal magnets holding them on. To me, it's just like the ultimate thing. Like
Dead set, is that a shrine in your house?
Yeah.
That is mad. That is sick. I love it.
Never change.
Yeah, so I've been referring to them as my Infinity Stones for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm trying to get all of them, which is impossible because, yeah, as I said, they just won't stop coming out with them. So currently I have 6. I just graded. The coolest thing for me is that I grade them all myself. I don't buy. The only graded card I've purchased, I think, is like a PSA Pokemon card.
Yep.
I don't buy slabs just because, like if I'm the Heroes person and I can't grade my own high grade cards, then what am I trying to sell people, right? So all the stock for graded cards is just taken from the same like pool simultaneously, just whenever I'm sending stuff for grading as people can purchase.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of stats to back that up with a lot of like return customers that have graded exclusive to my cards or on their own or through me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're at like a 9% black label rate.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it.
That's very damn good.
That's very high.
Obviously lower for certain cards for reasons that no one would ever admit to. The most popular cards seem to get the lowest black label hit rate. Big surprise there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is like a prized possession of mine. It started with the Goku, then I got the Vegeta, and then the second Goku Grail. So I'll show each of them.
That Vegeta card has been one that is on my buy list for a long time. So I may have to just have a chat with you after this to source one as well. So
okay.
Yeah,
no worries,
because it's been on my list for a very, very long time to get. Yeah.
Oh, you can have a look at that while we're chatting.
Yes. Oh, what card?
So this is in Heroes. As much as you win the cards from the machines, in every other set they usually have like a sealed prize card as well, which you can win randomly from a golden chest at the end of each game. They're moving more towards like a scratch system that randomly appears now that then gets mailed out a couple months down the line. But originally that's what they did, mail order. Then they moved to the system where you get a random chance, you win it, they'll hand it to you from behind the counter as like a sealed prize card. So this Goku Grail, it's a 10th anniversary prize card from Big Bang Mission 6. It's a secret rare. They did essentially a Goku Grail again, just with obviously different artwork, because they like people that collect the Grails in Black Label to be suffering, I guess. I don't know. So there's the Vegeta, there's that Goku. The Broly is an interesting card. So any of you like major Instagram fanatics and collectors that are on Instagram probably know of 50/50 Chasing, Fred. So he's a big collector of Pokemon, Dragon Ball, Heroes, other things. Big Black Label guy too. So he had this. I think he purchased it from someone on eBay a while ago. And I've just always had bad luck with the Broly Grail. Like any copies that I can get have always just had something wrong with them.
Yep.
So I essentially traded him for this. I traded him a Black Label Heroes Apex.
Right.
Like just a direct, clean trade. And I was stoked because like it was just another piece of the puzzle, right? And at that point, I already had one in my collection that was separate to that. So I was happy trading that,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one of the coolest things about the community, like low end, high end, whatever. We had complete faith in each other just because we both had communities behind us and people that already respected us. So it was just such an easy trade to navigate for cards that at the time were around like $3 or $4 like just mailed them off the next day after we had a little voice message agreement.
Yeah, cool. Always makes me so nervous sending like expensive cards as well.
I'm just like, it's going to be that one time where
Yes.
a postage company that shall not be named gutter stomps my package, you know?
One time, I mean.
Dead set. I've sent a card, thank God it was a low-end card, legitimately looked like it had been curb stomped. It was like an L. It was and I ship like PSAs in like a box as well. Like, you know, it's like rigid boxes. And it was 45 degrees, like this. What happened? There was a shoe mark on it. That's the thing. So he's either dropped
Literally,
it, I think dropped it and then just stood on it, or, you know, I would hate to think they actually deliberately gutter stomp your card, but it looked like it.
Right, just fixing it.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sound Daddy.
So, yeah, not this particular one, but this version of the DBS Apex, the Heroes version, which a lot of you will be familiar with if you're in the Dragon Ball Super card game space.
What's this? Yes, I've got probably about 10 copies at home of that. And the Awakened iteration as well. I went ham on the Japanese auction sites and bought a bunch. Yeah.
So, yeah, I had an extra copy of this, traded it to Fred for this. Currently, this one is filling out my like Grail frame because it's a 9-slot frame and I only have the 6 Grails, right? So this one and a couple others filling that out. But yeah, and the freezer I graded earlier this year, and the cell I just got back from Japan and it was like waiting for me in the mail.
That's cool.
Alongside, in the same package.
I love that one.
As the Alt Art Goku. So this card's pretty special. A lot of people don't really know this, I guess, but Bandai Cardass obviously have been making Dragon Ball cards for years and years and years, like since the 80s, right? And there's a 1995-ish series called Visual Adventure. And the art for this is directly from one of the foil hit cards in that series.
That's cool.
And this is the first alt art they did in Heroes. And what that means is like, it was from, obviously you have the alt art promos, completely different. It's the first alt art secret rare, the first alt art hit card from an arcade machine in the Dragon Ball Heroes arcade game, right? So all that really means is, say you have one of these, right? So this is a brick. This is what Bandai sends arcades to put in the back of the machine. You can see there's like little visual instructions of how to do it. The red tape is the factory seal. It's just 100 randomly assorted cards, and each brick has like one ultimate rare or one ultimate rare and a secret rare inside. So on average, you have a 1 in 200 chance to get a secret every time you play the arcade game. The way the alt art worked, it was still in the bricks, but there are, I don't know how much I should really share, but every set, there's a certain amount of patterns of what's actually in the bricks.
Yep.
And of those, there's only one that has an alt art. For example, I'm not going to give any real numbers here, but say there's 24 different patterns, there'll be one that'll have an alt art.
Yeah,
They've only done 2 sets that have had an alt art so far. There was one Big Bang Mission 11, which was 1 year ago, and they just came out with Ultra God Mission 5 while I was in Japan with the new alt art, which is a Kid Goku, very similar style, like rainbow, silver aesthetic, just beautiful. Again, that art was from the same Visual Adventure series, just a different card. Cool. So as a collector, that's sick because you can go back and get the old school card and get the new cool Heroes alt art and match them up. Yeah, so the alt arts obviously have a bit more value because comparatively, I mean, it's anywhere from 6 to 24 times harder to get than a regular secret.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is, aside from like the Grail collection as a whole, this is probably one of my favorite pieces at this point in my collecting journey.
I would probably say like out of all the, because I remember when we found out about it, me and Jack had just messaged each other, just screenshots of that card. And because it's probably one of the most visually appealing cards in my opinion.
No, for sure. And that's been a really interesting thing to see. The first time I noticed it was with the original Goku Grail, right? This card, the art of it was shared around in all these different like groups, communities, whatever. It's what drew so many more people into Heroes than pretty much anything else.
Mm.
Just purely like seeing this card, wanting it, and then discovering Heroes as a whole.
That did the rounds heaps.
This
from memory.
overtook it,
Yeah.
100%. Collectors in every kind of space, like even if they didn't like Dragon Ball, people saw it and then they were like, yep, I want it. Or that's really sick. What is it?
Seems like very traditional, like design elements, like Japanese art design elements through the actual artwork. Like it's proper like artwork.
It is.
Like it's gorgeous.
It's fantastic. And it's the first card they ever did anything like this. You know, like they have, like this was an anniversary secret. This is an anniversary secret. This was also one. But, you know, it was just a sealed prize card, very similar to the other types they put out. This is the first alt art they did, and it's also the most unique.
Yeah, it just looks special.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks so much more special. Like this, you can see like, very inspired, like very much and a muchness sort of thing in the design elements and stuff, but that is so uniquely different. You'd think it was
fantastic.
from a different sort of,
You know, you would.
ACG.
And
I got it.
Takes it, you did. It takes it to another level, right? As in, you know, obviously Heroes cards are always just art. Maybe you got a couple numbers on it because you got to know what it actually does.
Yes.
But also the backs of the cards, that's what they look like. You got your Japanese text and some stats and stuff. And you always have a profile of the main character the card is for. For example, the Apex has both Goku and Vegeta, but the main featured character you use in the game is Goku. Yeah, this just took it to another level. Like, obviously, these are primarily art focused, but this is literally just an art piece on a card. Like,
yeah,
it's phenomenal. And yeah, obviously, you know, that one came out, and then 2 sets later, they did their first ever serial card, the serialized Goku. I only brought some of my slabs, so sorry I can't show that one off here today. But
yeah, you came in with like this massive briefcase and this massive North Face bag. I'm like, what has he got? You've just whipped out all these cards. I'm like, this is cool. I just feel like, again, like a kid in a candy shop just looking at all these like shiny things.
Yeah, that's how I feel every day.
And it's good to see your collection and how like obviously passionate you are and how hard you are into this sort of.
I mean, yeah, that's it, right? It's too hard to part with a lot of the stuff, which is why I've tried to limit myself to black labels of my favorite characters or grails or like special pieces, like your cross art cards, like your Apex, right? Because that's in DBS, super popular card, or the Goku Frieza black label, matching the one that came out about a year after this one did in DBS.
Yeah, they share a lot of the designs. Like the Awakened is pretty much the exact same artwork.
The same artwork,
you know,
but
yeah. Just done differently for the different CGs.
Which is obviously going to happen. It's the same company producing the same.
Correct.
With the IP, that's the same, right? So, you know, but it is cool to see how they differ. And as a collector, it's really cool, especially if you like collecting both, because you can just do both,
match
right?
and match,
and
a bit
they'll
different. Yeah.
In your displays. Yeah. You know, Heroes has a lot of. This is like pretty much the first black label I ever graded. So it's a UI Goku. It's in a Palms Off Gaming Perfect Fit BGS sleeve.
Are these the extra thick ones that I sent you at some stage?
This one isn't.
They give you a bunch of those extra thick ones. Yeah. Do you need more, or have you got enough?
You know, I could use more.
I'll give you a case of them.
I send out most orders of cards in the Palms Off Gaming graded card holders, obviously in the sleeves.
Yeah.
But stacks of 7 to 10 of them in the Beckett sleeves.
Because those extra thick ones, and people may not know this, like we do the extra thick PSA iterations and then the regular PSA ones, and then Beckett we only have the regular fit ones. The reason being was the extra thick ones, because the corners on Beckett cards are so sharp and the plastic is different. It's like non-orientated plastic. So like it pulls and sort of stretches the plastic and scratches it up a little bit more. So we actually decided to pull the pin on that one, and manufacturing messed up anyway and sent them to us. So we're just like, cool. So now we've got like all these packs of 100 micron thickness BGS sleeves. So I'm just going to give you heaps of them.
Thank you.
That's all right. Again, give them to your customers.
I mean, I will be in one way, shape, or form. Yeah. So this is interesting. It's the first black label I graded with Beckett. That was a Heroes card. I also managed to grade my friend Corey again. He had a Shining Mew.
Oh yeah.
So I graded that is a black label for him. And this came back
Koro
in
or just
no. The like the literal Shining Mew,
right? Okay.
the Japanese one.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Ken Chin
Ken
ended up
Chin.
picking that up.
Yeah. Mr. Ken.
But what made this one so special is obviously the label. Don't know if it's a PG-13 podcast, but
Nice.
yeah.
Very good. No, you show it. That's fine.
Yeah. So we got the UM10 Sex Ultra Instinct Son Goku black label. I could have it sent back and fixed, but when it's that kind of typo, like why would you? You know,
Leave it.
especially with like that kind of sultry pose and like the colors. You know, looking over his shoulder.
Yes, very good.
That's definitely up there. Yeah, look, honestly, I could show you things from my collection all day,
Yes.
but
Yep.
um,
Unfortunately, we do not have it all day, but
this is probably the last thing I'll show you then.
one last flex.
So, you know, obviously everyone's a big fan of Gohan, like he's the best character in Dragon Ball. So the fact they did the superhero movie recently is awesome.
This camera's out. Yeah, this one's out. This one's still going.
Okay.
So you're good.
So, this is from the latest set, Ultra Go Mission 5. Won it from the machine, obviously, because like, just got back from Japan. I was playing it literally every day, almost. And this is one of the first, if not the first, actually, I think it is literally the first tag team card they've done, where you can see, like I was talking about before, the profile shot on the back.
Yeah.
It's just one card normally, right? With this one, it's got both. And you literally move it on the screen and it'll swap between the characters. They'll do like a little like high five animation.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
And you'll get to use the other one. And this one's broken personally. But so this is, the reason I want to show you this is because like it's the coolest, latest Gohan card to be dropped in Heroes, right?
Yeah.
But this card here is actually the card that right at the start of the podcast, you recall me talking about, finding on eBay a picture of. So this is the original H2, so second set ever released back in 2011. Father, Son Gohan, Kamehameha.
The one that started it all.
Yeah, it started everything. Finding, because, you know, as we've talked about, like, it's an arcade card game. Finding any old cards, especially a popular one, like this to me, as I might not have been mentioned, but in the articles on the website, it certainly is. To me, this is like the base set Charizard of Heroes, where it's like the most iconic moment or character or whatever from the first set, right? H1 had some pretty basic cards, but H2, the secret was a Hatchak card.
Yep. Nothing special.
Really, really cool character. Don't get me wrong, but to me, this is the standout from the first and second set, and you know, most iconic thing. So finding anything like this that isn't damaged from play or just from not being able to have it just kept away in a pack over the years, is insanely hard. So yeah, I've got a 9.5. I want a 10. I want a black label at some point. It'll be a journey, but I mean, finding any decent copies, you know, you're looking at like $400 or $500, and then you don't really know. How
that's going to be received as well.
Yeah,
it's a risk every time. Yeah,
it is. Because you might, especially with the older ones, you might miss like a little white dot or something, and then you're screwed. So
that's cool. A little memory piece in the collection.
So
that's
like the best original Gohan card and the latest Gohan, where it's at now, and hopefully Heroes continues for a while to come. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon, especially with like the new DBS arcs starting up and DBS being really popular in general.
Yeah, sick. Well, hopefully it continues, and hopefully we get some more of this in Australia. I know it's picking up a little bit, so yeah. No, it's been a pleasure having you on. Like, and yeah, seeing you again. It's been a while since I've actually met up with you, so it's good seeing your face again and seeing that you're doing really well, and seeing that you're recovered from your COVID as well. People didn't know we didn't cover this. You
got back from Japan immediately into COVID lockdown because I got absolutely smashed by it.
Yeah. So luckily this hinged over that week-long period, and you were testing negative. So I'm super stoked you were able to make it, and that you've gone out of your way, bought some packs in, bought your collection in, and we've had a good chat. So we will plug what we want to plug, palmsoffgaming.com.au. Go get all your accessories and stuff. Have fun. And I guess shameless plug of yourself. Go for it before we cap
so
off.
come hit me up at dbheroes.com.au or at dbheroes_au on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. TikTok's expanding, trying to expand the knowledge base there with like reels of older sets and some of the major cards from each of them. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot coming up in this next year. Hopefully I'll catch anyone watching at Perth Comic Con, Brisbane Comic Con, Melbourne Comic Con, and PAX.
Just everywhere.
That's the goal. Conventions is just too fun.
Continue
too addictive.
networking. I love it. Just everywhere. Man, that's everywhere at the same time. It's great. All right. Well, all those events, well, hopefully we'll see you at one or two of them at some stage. And
I mean, I was considering Hobby Hangout in the future, but wasn't 100% sold just yet.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Yep. It's not bad. I would say definitely the one coming up in, I think it's March. Don't quote me on that. They've just released the schedule. We booked a hell of a lot of tables.
Yeah.
If you want to come along to that, then you can have a table next to us, I guess. We've got 6 of them.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, if you do pull the trigger on that, you just hit me up and you can be placed with us and we can have a good time and you can go out with the team after. Sick. All right.
Oh, mate, you got me too excited now.
All right. Well, thanks if you've made it through. I know it's a really long podcast. So if you made it through, thank you for listening. I hope you didn't chew your ear off too much. And we will see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye.